video is for the lesson 3.5B homework. We are deciding if two lines are parallel, if they're perpendicular, or they're neither. So if they're parallel, we're going to put a yellow X in the box. If they're perpendicular, we're going to put a blue. So I know it says light blue. Any blue will work. All right. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. And then neither, we're not going to put any color in that box, but the slopes aren't the same and they're not negative reciprocals. They're just two lines doing their own thing. So what we have to do is we have to find the slope of every line. So if they're in slope-intercept form, if it starts with y equals, the slope is just the number in front of the x. So in this first box, are my slopes the same? They're the same. So if they're the same, these lines are parallel.
So what is that, yellow?
All right, in the next box, my first one has a slope of negative 2/5 and positive 2/5. So are they the same? No. Okay, so they're not the same. Positive and negative are different, okay? So next we check to see if they're negative reciprocals. So here's what a reciprocal is. Negative 2/5. Okay, let me grab a pen that'll show up. If I want to find the negative reciprocal, okay, if it's a fraction, I flip the fraction on its head and I change the sign. So if this one's negative, then this one's positive. These are negative reciprocal. Negative 2/5 and 5/2. Those are negative reciprocals. So is that what my slopes are?
No.
No. So they're not perpendicular, which means they're neither. We don't color them.
Okay.
Check if they're the same. Check if they're negative reciprocals. If it's not either, then it's neither. All right, next one. So for this one, my slope is negative 1/4.
I'm 4.
For this one, my slope is 4. Are they the same?
No.
No. So now we got to check negative reciprocal. I just take the first one. Negative 1/4. So I flip the fraction on its head. It's negative, so now it's positive. So I'm looking for negative 1/4. What does 4/1 simplify to?
4.
So really, I'm looking at a 4. I'm looking at negative 1/4 and then 4 when I simplify. Negative 1/4 and 4. Those are negative reciprocals, so it's blue. All right, what do we do if it's in standard form? There's actually a really easy way, and you might want to write this on your page. If it's in standard form, so standard form is AX plus BY equals C. Now, I could take standard form and I could convert it to slope intercept. That's going to take a lot of time. There's actually an easier way. I can do negative A over B. So the number in front of the X turned negative, or change the sign, over the number in front of Y. And that will give me the slope of the line. Okay? So, in this one here, 2 is my A, this is my A, 7 is my B. So I do negative A, so if A is a 2, I do negative 2 over B, which is a 7. And then always just make sure you're simplifying your fractions, please. It stays the same. So that is my slope. So my slope for this one is negative 2/7. All right, this one. The 7 is my A. The negative 2, that whole piece, is my B. So negative A, so positive 7 would be a negative 7.
Oh.
Over B, which is a negative 2. and then I simplify it. Negative 7 over negative 2 gives me 7 over 2.
Wait, I got a negative 7 over 2. Oh, because it's 2.
All right, are they the same?
No.
All right, so now I check to see if they're negative reciprocals. So negative, and I always just take the first one. Negative 2/7. I flip it on its head. If it's negative, this one's positive. So negative 2/7 and 7/2, are those reciprocals?
Yep.
So if they're reciprocals,
Oh, yeah.
it's blue.
Oh, blue. My bad.
All right. Y equals, so if it starts with y equals, that makes my life easier because that means the slope of that one's a negative 5.
Wait.
If it starts with y equals, that means it's slope-intercept form, and the number in front of the x is the slope. It's already done for you.
Okay.
But this one is in standard form. So A and B. What's my A value?
1.
1. So remember, there's an invisible 1 there. So negative A, so negative 1 over B would be, take the whole piece, negative 5. And that simplifies, if it's a negative and a negative, it turns into a positive. So those are my slopes, negative 5 and 1 over 5. All right, so reciprocals of whole numbers. Negative 5. Negative 5 as a fraction is just negative 5 over 1. So the reciprocal of negative 5 is 1/5. If this one's negative, this one's positive. So I need slopes of negative 5 and positive 1/5. Is that what I've got?
Yes, ma'am.
So if they're negative reciprocals, they're blue. So far, how do you guys feel? We okay?
Yeah.
Tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's tripping you up.
Just on that one right there. That one's neither, right?
This one?
No, top one.
This one's neither.
Okay, I was just making sure.
All right. Standard form, so I got to find the slope of both of these. So negative A, that's the formula for slope. Negative A over B when it's in standard form. So negative 3 over B is a 2. So my slope, that's simple. I'm not typing them in the calculator. You need to be typing them in and making sure they're in simplest form. For time, I'm telling you, negative 3 over 2 is in simplest form.
It stays the same.
All right, A, B. Negative A is a negative 2 over B is a 3. So negative 2 over 3.
It stays the same.
Are those slopes the same?
No.
No. Are they negative reciprocals? No, because they're both negative. If they're both negative, they can't be opposites. They got to be opposites. So it's neither. We don't do anything. Okay? All right. Y equals negative 4x. So negative 4 is the slope. All right. I got to do negative A over B for this one. So this is my A. This is my B. Negative A would be a negative 8 over B. Somebody type that one in and simplify it for me. Negative 8 over 2
Negative 4.
is a negative 4. Are my slopes the same?
No. Oh, wait, yes.
So then they're parallel, they're yellow. All right. Standard form again. A and B. They're all ones, right? So negative A would be a negative 1. Over B would be a positive 1. Meaning my slope would be a what?
1.
Nakaba?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. Okay?
So wait.
Ask-
Every time there's a negative, if it's like 1 over 1, any time each one of those is negative, it's also negative 1.
No.
Is that X not a negative?
This one right here?
Is it a negative?
This X is not a negative.
No,
This x is not a negative.
so
This y is a negative.
Oh yeah, I meant the that's what I meant.
So, negative a. So here's a, here's b. Negative 1 over b, which is a negative 1. Negative 1 over negative 1 simplifies to a
Negative.
positive 1.
And they're opposites.
Okay, so they're opposites, but are they reciprocals? They are. Negative 1 over 1. If I flip it, I get 1 over 1. Opposite of a negative is a positive. Negative 1 over 1 is a negative 1. 1 over 1 is a 1.
You're
So,
confusing me with all these ones.
I know. So these are kind of the odd man out. Negative 2 and positive 2 are not negative reciprocals. The only one that works that way, that are just the opposites, are the ones. Negative 1 and positive 1 are reciprocals. Negative 2, the reciprocal of negative 2
2.
would be 1 over 2.
Oh.
The reciprocal of 2, negative reciprocal, would be negative 1 over 2.
Oh.
Okay, remember, you've got to flip it. So these are reciprocals. So these are blue. I know you start getting twisted, but if you work a step at a time and kind of write down as you go, you'll be okay. All right, I'm gonna leave this one, and then these 3, and then I want to look at this one because this one's kind of an oddball. All right, so we've got standard form for the first one. So negative a would be a negative 10. Over b would be an 8. Somebody type that one in and simplify it for me.
Negative 5 over 4.
Negative 5 over 4. Look at this one, though. This isn't standard form.
What is it?
Okay.
5y.
So my options are I can put it in standard form or I can get the y by itself. Which would be easier?
Y by itself.
I can divide by 5
Too many steps.
and that will get the y by itself. And I don't even have to simplify this bottom piece because who cares about the y-intercept? This is what I'm looking at. The 4/5, the slope.
Is that a 5 under the 15?
Yeah. So negative 5 over 4 and 4 over 5. Are they the same?
No.
Are they negative reciprocals?
Yes.
Fractions flipped and the signs opposite.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of blues.
There are. All right. X minus 2y equals 18. So this is the A, this is the B. So A is a 1, but remember negative A over B. B is a negative 2. That simplifies to 1 over 2.
Wait, they said we flipped it.
No.
2 was already negative, right?
No. A and B. So here it's a 1. Negative A, so negative 2 over B. B is a 1. Negative 2 over 1 is negative 2. Are those reciprocals?
No. Wait, yes.
Yes. What? 1 over 2 and 2 are reciprocals. Are the signs different?
Yes.
So they're negative reciprocals. They're perpendicular. All right. X equals 4 and X equals negative 6. Look at that cheat sheet I gave you today, the colored printout. X equals. What does that line look like? If it's X equals. X equals 4. What would that line look like? Look at the cheat. Huh? No.
Wait, which one are we looking at?
Okay. X equals 4 is a vertical line. X equals 4. So X equals negative 6. What way is that line going to go?
Across.
No.
It's yellow. If you can't quite figure it out and you're not sure with your answer, I would put it into perhaps.
You can't. You can't put an X
We
equal
just did.
in the graph?
Yeah. and it
Okay.
worked.
Give me a second. If it's X or Y equals a number, if it's both the same, X equals, they're parallel. They're going to go the same direction.
No.
Okay? All right, so x equals 1 is going to be a vertical line. Y equals -8 is going to be a horizontal line. So what would you call those two? Perpendicular. Okay, so that leaves you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to give you a hint for the last 6. You ready?
Yes.
No.
3 are going to be yellow. 2 are going to be neither. 1 is going to be blue. So you're going to have 3 yellow, 1 blue, and you're going to have 2 that are neither.